If you want to stay poor using coding agents like Hermes, OpenClaw, or Claude Code, I've got the perfect plan for you. Because in the past 8 months of using these systems, I've managed to burn my own money and some of my clients' money on long-running tasks that were made sloppily. I've built content systems that have gone from producing actually good content to AI slop, and I've also gone and built a ton of things that did not need to exist or got deleted thereafter, wasting a bunch of my own time. So in this video, by the end of it, you're going to have 5 things that you can do to monumentally destroy your operations and your system. So for those that don't know, I'm Sheni. I help businesses map their processes, find bottlenecks, and then alleviate them with automations and agents. So let's get into it. Okay, so the very first thing you can do is use frontier models for absolutely everything. Think Opus 4.8, think Fable 5, rest in peace, think GPT 5.5. Use them for absolutely everything, including all of the really small tasks that you have to do hundreds or maybe even thousands of times. Let's say you're doing things across a ton of different sheets and you have to do an LLM call to every single one of those, meaning you have to use AI on each row inside of a spreadsheet to get a specific answer or a specific cell to be filled in. Use it for absolutely everything. You're going to burn a ton of money, and it's going to be a great way to rack up your bill, whether it be on your Anthropic or on your Open router. Fundamentally, easiest way of doing this is to have a process that you've turned into a skill and have that skill basically run on a default of Opus 4.8 in this example. I'm going to show you one example of where I did this, and it was absolutely fantastic. I basically went in and I created what's called an infographic creator inside of my own cursor. And all this does is it creates a ton of different JPEGs out of code and some HTML, and then turns it into a ton of different types of content, which looks a little bit like this. So you can see some of these over here, over here, over here, over here, and over here. Use Opus for it entirely. It will cost you $5 for every single one of these that gets created, and you'll burn a couple $100 just scheduling a couple of posts every single week like you wouldn't believe. It's a fantastic way to spend all of your money and destroy your entire system using frontier models for absolutely everything. Don't use Sonnet for the things that don't require the level of thinking. Don't use HiQ for the things that are on the lower end of the spectrum insofar as what you need to think about, insofar as the actual delivery of the thing that you're trying to make. If you're doing a ton of different things, just use Opus. Fantastic idea. Just keep on doing that. Number 2, don't create a second brain for your library, because what this will do is it will give you all of the context that you need so that you don't have to type in hundreds and hundreds of lines of text every single time you want something new to pop up. Because every single time that you do that, it means you can spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, even an hour getting the exact thing that you want from a prompt. And it means that you can really get your hands dirty in every single bit of information that you want to feed into Claude Code or Hermes or OpenClaw, so that they know exactly what they need to do from point zero. Don't give it any documents on exactly which client is being worked on. Don't give the clients ICP if you're doing marketing stuff for them. Don't give them the band list. Say absolutely everything that you know that the client doesn't want you to say. Don't feed the onboarding form to the agent whenever you're building stuff for them. And if, for example, you're a marketing agency that does, let's say, email marketing, and you have to build some designs, go completely against all of their design colors by completely omitting that every single time that you forget to put that inside of the prompt. I promise you, it's a great way to destroy every single setup that you have. Don't use anything like Obsidian. Don't use a list of folders where you have specific .md files, which will keep every single part of your business running the way that it needs to, from what you do, who you are, what you like, how you talk to clients, how you talk to team members, how you set up and organize yourself throughout the day. Don't have any of that stored anywhere in documents that can be easily pointed towards with different keywords and different taglines and links to other .mds across your entire folder, because that is the easiest way to not have to spend 45 minutes, an hour and a half on every single prompt that you do. Fantastic option. Don't create a second brain. Number 3, completely change all of the root level instructions that you have, because that's going to be the easiest way for you to turn absolutely everything that you've done into something else. Don't feed your existing Agents.md or your Claude.md, whichever file that it is that stays at the root of everything that this coding agent does. It could be any type of system prompt, wherever it may be. Completely change it. Turn it into something completely different. Let's say it has 15 items in it. Just remove those 15 and replace them with another 15. Put them inside of another existing AI, for example, just a random Claude chat or a random GPT chat, and just say, hey, this is my Claude.md. Can you just make me a better one? Just do that. It's the easiest way to go in and make every single thing that was working stop working again. I did this a couple of times when trying to fix a problem that I knew was long standing, and I ended up getting basically frustrated with my own system. So I said, hey, I'm just going to rewrite this from scratch. And the next thing that happened was that every single time that I opened a window, the exact thing that I wanted just stopped working. It was fantastic, amazing. I highly recommend it. Number 4, spread your work across multiple repos. So what is a repo? A repository is basically a quote unquote storage box. It's simply just the folder that you started working in when you were working across every single thing that you were doing. So as you can see here, the folders that I have inside of this system and all of these loose items here are the sum total of what this is called, which is called cursor build. Cursor builds is my repository. It's my folder that has a ton of other folders inside of it, which is managing every single thing that's happening across the Claude Code instance that I have. So for example, all of my skills, all of my documents, all of my information, and even some of the things that I've had to tell it to do because I noticed that there was a mistake in the past and I wanted that mistake to be fixed moving forwards. Just completely change every single time that you want to do something new. Just make something new. Make something absolutely new. Don't work out of one place, because all of the work that you would have done in one spot therefore doesn't get moved over to the new spot where you started working. Imagine going into high school and having to learn basic arithmetic. Now imagine having to go into college and learning basic arithmetic again. Now imagine getting a job where you are now doing AI models and you need an understanding of really, really high level mathematical modeling in order to get this sorted. Let's go back to, first grade and learn what algebra was. Let's go back and learn what a basic arithmetic was. That's exactly what you're doing whenever you are working inside of multiple repositories to do the core business functions that you are doing. Let's say you're an operations lead. Let's say that you are in charge of a number of pods, or let's just say that you are the head of an agency, for example, and you're in charge of a number of people who are working inside of a number of different pods. Well, the business is going to have its own understanding of exactly what happens across the board whenever it comes to all of the work that's being done across every single client that exists inside of the business. Let's just say that each individual person in the team has an idea for some skills that they want to create for themselves. Let's say the copywriters want to create a Claude skill, which is basically just an SOP of every single thing that they want to do when it comes to writing copy out for this specific client. Let's say they make newsletters and they make funnel copy and they make website copy. We're going to make a newsletter copy skill, we're going to make a funnel copy skill, and we're going to make an email copy skill. Let's just have that sat in one random folder and just never call it ever. Let's now go and speak to the designers or the automation specialists who are using MCPs for things like make.com, NAN, Typeform, whatever it may be, in order to get these funnels up, and let's have them work in their own separate folder. All of the work and all of the problems that were a root issue for every single client, just copy them over to the next client, then to the next person, and then copy that over to the next person, and then to the growth strategist's repo, and copy that over to the other person's repo as well. That way, every single lesson that person A learned doesn't spread to persons B, C, D, and E. It just stays with person A, and they just get to reap all of the rewards. They get to have all of the AI adoption. They get to have all of the fun. If you do that, you are monumentally going to destroy how you're setting up Claude, because now you're going to be moving through different things, moving across different stages, and basically just having to redo old work. It's a fantastic way to waste your time, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it if you want to destroy your systems with agents. It's something that I have dealt with personally as well, because there are a ton of different repos that I've got now, some of which are stored in GitHub, some of which are still on my root computer, and oftentimes the only times that I know I wasn't destroying my setup was when I had a whole different repository, i.e. root folder with a bunch of different folders inside of it, for actual client work that then needed to go out. So it wasn't that I was working in one place. I was actually working in one place, and then I was giving my clients a template or a boilerplate of all of the hard-won lessons from the main repository that I had, and then I was feeding that over to the new client when they came along, and to the new client when they came along. Horrible way to basically ruin how to destroy this agent setup. It was something that if you're really, really trying to go all the way down, balls to the wall, we're just going to make everything terrible. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just work across every single repository that you can think of. Anytime you have a new idea, open up a new folder, create a new Claude.md, and just let it run. Don't let everything compound, because compounding is always going to be a bad idea, if you get what I'm talking about. So I've saved the best one for last here. And this is the one thing that's going to make all of these pale in comparison. So before I go into that, I'm going to just recap the things that are also going to be really, really big killers if you really, really, really want to destroy your system with agents. Number one, using the frontier models for absolutely everything, because if you do that, you can just burn as much money as you want and it'll be absolutely worth it. Don't create a second brain for your library. Don't create multiple different documents and pieces of information that your agents can call back on, because it means that you get to write every single day a 1-hour prompt to do the most basic things. Completely change your root level instructions, because it would be like giving all of the tools that you have to a completely random person and giving them all of the wrong instructions. It's the most fantastic way to turn all of the things that were working into things that just don't work anymore and don't orchestrate and talk to each other properly. Number 4, spread your work across multiple repositories, because that way you just don't have any compounding, because as you work in the system to do the work that's required in order to generate cash and to also fulfill on client works that's currently happening, you find that there are certain mistakes that the coding agent's making, and every time you fix them, you can just fix them again, because why not? The big one, don't anchor your processes before you build. Don't build the skill before you end up using skill. Now, what does this mean? If we take the idea of a Claude skill, and I'm going to go back to sort of like a rudimentary just so that I can make this be clear. Think of a skill as an SOP. All it is a document that is written out by Claude with a heading, which describes what the skill is and when to invoke it, and then instructions for what that is. So for example, if there is a skill that is used to create content for YouTube Shorts, you have this YouTube Shorts content creator, you know what really works and when it comes to making a YouTube short. So you just write down, or it writes down inside of this document after this heading, this is the YouTube Shorts creator. This is how it works. This is what goes into it. This is how it's created. And there are certain steps that need to be followed and certain other documents that describe this process. Reference those and reference these steps and then use that in order to do the thing that needs done. It's just a standard operating procedure. The best way to put a standard operating procedure in place that actually doesn't work is to build a standard operating procedure on something that just doesn't exist. It's just not how things work. So for example, if you took the idea of making, let's say for example, my quality checking skill, for example, let's say this, which was created without me actually doing it more than once before creating it and turning it into skill, was run. In fact, I actually have an idea insofar as one that we're going to do. So I'm just going to click that and see what it does. Now, whatever it does doesn't matter, because I know the output is going to be crap, because this doesn't follow the processes that actually need to be followed insofar as creating something that I know is going to be something that myself and my team will use. So this is going to start calling some of my client information inside of Airtable, and then it's going to do a number of different things. It's going to map the automation. It's going to run what's called a unit test, which basically just means a siloed test on the one thing that needs tested. It's then going to run some tests on some edge cases, i.e. it's going to try and break the automation that was made. It's also then going to do some cleanup, and then it's going to create some Slack summaries, which look absolutely ugly. And then it's going to give me a report inside of the chat, which describes exactly what was done. Now, there are a number of different things in here that just haven't been iterated on, because the process involved does not actually meet what happens in real life. So I'm going to leave this to do what it needs to do. And just so that it doesn't show any environment variables, I'm just going to leave it there. And what's going to happen is all of the outputs that are going to come from that are basically going to have to be looked at again. So I don't actually buy back my time with code leverage, like I like to say, insofar as the reasons why people are going to need automations in order to make their own lives easier. I'm just not going to be able to get any of those benefits from that. Great way to destroy your systems and your operations, because you get to add more work to your plate instead of remove the work that was intended to be removed from your plate. So if we take an entire summary of absolutely everything that happened, here's how it looks. Number 1, use frontier models for absolutely everything. Use Opus 4.8, use Fable 5, use GPT 5.5. Don't use anything that's even open source that is cheaper, that may be just as good as some of the higher level and extended thinking model work that needs to be done. Just use the most expensive thing that's out there. You get to burn a bunch of money, it's great. Number 2, don't create a second brain for your library, because you get to just put in as much context as you want every single time that you use the systems. Number 3, completely change your root level instructions. Just remove everything that did work and replace it with something that you think is going to work, and see how everything crumbles. Number 4, spread your work across multiple repositories. Don't let compounding benefit yourself and your system and everything else that touches the system or becomes an offspring of the said system. And number 5, don't anchor your process before you build. Don't build the skill before you actually use what the quote unquote skill was meant to do, because in that way you get to create a bunch of new work just for yourself. Now, based on everything that we've spoken about, there's a lot of things that you can do in order to destroy your systems. If you do the exact opposite, you're going to get an absolutely clean and amazing system just for your business. So if you're looking for more ways in order to make Claude work for you, I've got a video probably right here, which I can forward to you right now if you want.